Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight we're going to wander back through the mists of time to a land that looks nothing like the one we know today. A time when vast forests stretched across the earth and the ground shook beneath the steps of the largest creatures the world has ever known. This is the lost world of the dinosaurs. They were more than just giants with teeth and claws. They came in every size and shape imaginable, from creatures no bigger than a cat to titans that dwarfed buildings. Some glided through the trees, others thundered across the ground. They were the rulers of Earth for over 160 million years, far longer than humans have even existed. And even though they are gone, traces of them remain all around us. The bones we uncover, the feathers locked in amber, the faint imprint of a footprint left in mud that hardened into stone. And of course, every bird alive today can trace their roots to these remarkable creatures. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, you can like and subscribe or simply share a thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, settle in, get comfortable, and allow yourself to drift as we explore the lost world of the dinosaurs. Let's begin. Dinosaurs were never really lizards. The very word dinosaur comes from the Greek words dinos and sauros, meaning terrible lizard. But in truth, dinosaurs weren't lizards at all. When the name was coined in the mid-19th century, scientists didn't yet understand how unique these creatures were. They simply saw bones of immense reptiles and imagined gigantic versions of modern lizards. But as fossil evidence grew, it became clear that dinosaurs belonged to their own extraordinary branch of life. Unlike lizards, their limbs were held straight beneath their bodies, giving them a powerful upright posture for movement. Their hips, their breathing systems, and even their growth rates were distinct from the reptiles we know today. In fact, dinosaurs are more closely related to birds than to lizards. The name terrible lizard stuck, but the creatures it describes were far stranger, more diverse, and more astonishing than anyone first guessed. Consider the difference in posture alone. A lizard sprawls, its legs splaying out to the sides, its belly dragging close to the ground. This is an efficient posture for a creature that spends much of its time basking in the sun or creeping through underbrush, but it limits size and speed. A dinosaur, by contrast, stood with its legs directly beneath its body, much like a mammal or a bird. This upright stance allowed for greater weight-bearing capacity and far more efficient movement. It was this fundamental anatomical difference that enabled dinosaurs to grow to sizes that no sprawling reptile could ever achieve. A lizard the size of an elephant would crush its own ribs under its weight. But a dinosaur, with its pillar-like legs and specialized hip joints, could carry tens of tons across vast distances. The hips of dinosaurs tell us even more about their evolutionary history. Paleontologists divide dinosaurs into two major groups based on the structure of their hip bones. The Saurischans, or lizard-hipped dinosaurs, include the long-necked sauropods and the carnivorous theropods. The Ornithischians, or bird-hipped dinosaurs, include creatures like Stegosaurus, Triceratops, and the duck-billed hadrosaurs. It's a curious twist of scientific naming that birds are actually descended from the lizard-hipped dinosaurs rather than the bird-hipped ones. This shows us that evolution doesn't follow a straight line. It branches and weaves in unexpected directions. The very names we give to these ancient creatures sometimes reflect our own misunderstandings rather than the deeper truths that would only be revealed through centuries of careful study. The lungs and breathing systems of dinosaurs were also fundamentally different from modern reptiles. Dinosaurs possessed a complex system of air sacs connected to their lungs, a feature they shared with birds. This allowed for a unidirectional flow of air, meaning that oxygen-rich air passed through the lungs in a continuous stream, rather than the in-and-out tidal flow of mammalian breathing. The advantage of this system is extraordinary. It provides a constant supply of fresh oxygen, enabling sustained activity and supporting the enormous energy demands of a large body. This is how sauropods could pump blood through necks longer than buses and how theropods could chase down prey with remarkable endurance. The air sacs even penetrated the bones themselves, hollowing them out and reducing weight without sacrificing strength. It was this intricate respiratory architecture that allowed dinosaurs to reach sizes and speeds that modern reptiles can only dream of. The growth rates of dinosaurs also set them apart from lizards. Modern reptiles grow slowly throughout their lives, adding layers of bone and annual rings much like trees. Dinosaurs, however, grew at rates closer to birds and mammals. Some species experienced explosive growth spurts, adding dozens of pounds per day during their teenage years. Bone histology, the study of the microscopic structure of fossilized bone, reveals a world of rapid expansion and metabolic intensity. Growth rings in dinosaur bones are often widely spaced, indicating periods of rapid growth, rather than the tight compressed rings seen in cold-blooded animals. This suggests that dinosaurs maintained high internal temperatures, at least enough to fuel their extraordinary growth. They were not sluggish creatures waiting for the sun to warm them. They were dynamic, active, and alive in ways that challenge everything we once thought we knew. Dinosaurs ruled Earth for over 160 million years. It is almost impossible for the human mind to truly grasp just how long dinosaurs flourished. Our own species has only existed for a few 100,000 years, and recorded history covers just a few thousand. Dinosaurs, by contrast, reigned over the Earth for more than 160 million years, a time span so vast that it stretches the imagination. Entire continents drifted and reshaped themselves while dinosaurs adapted to new worlds. Oceans rose and fell. Climates shifted from lush swamps to deserts, and through it all, dinosaurs survived, diversified, and thrived. Some lived in tropical forests, some near polar regions, and some in dry savannas. The sheer longevity of their dynasty reminds us that they were not failures, not doomed experiments, but among the most successful animals ever to live. By comparison, humanity has only just arrived at the party. Let us try to hold that number in our minds for just a moment. 160 million years. If you were to count backward from today, 160 million years would take you to a time when the Atlantic Ocean was still a narrow young sea, and the continents we know today were still locked together in the great landmass of Pangaea. The first dinosaurs appeared sometime in the Triassic period, around 230 million years ago. They were not the dominant creatures of their time. That position was held by a group of reptiles called the Pseudosuchians, ancestors of modern crocodiles. But as the Triassic gave way to the Jurassic, the dinosaurs began their slow, relentless rise. By the time the Jurassic was in full swing, they had become the undisputed rulers of the terrestrial world. To understand 160 million years is to understand the brevity of human existence. If all of Earth's history were compressed into a single 24-hour day, dinosaurs would appear around 10:30 at night and vanish just before midnight. Humans would not appear until the final fraction of a second before the day ends. We are the new arrivals, the latecomers to a world that dinosaurs shaped and ruled for almost incomprehensible ages. And yet, in that brief moment we call recorded history, we have uncovered the story of those ancient rulers, piecing together their lives from fragments of stone. It is a humbling thought. The dinosaurs had their time, and now we have ours. But their time was measured not in centuries or millennia, but in geological epochs. During that vast span, the Earth underwent dramatic transformations. The supercontinent Pangaea slowly split apart, creating the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Mountain ranges rose and eroded away. The climate swung from greenhouse conditions with no polar ice caps to cooler periods with glaciers forming at the poles and then back again. Through all of these changes, dinosaurs adapted. They evolved into new forms, colonized new territories, and found new ways to survive. Some developed elaborate crests and frills for display. Others grew immense sizes to deter predators. Still others shrank and took to the trees, developing feathers that would eventually allow them to take flight. The dinosaurs of the Triassic were very different from those of the Jurassic, and those of the Jurassic were different again from the dinosaurs of the Cretaceous. 160 million years is not a static period. It is a dynamic story of constant change and adaptation. And yet, through all those changes, certain patterns repeat. Dinosaurs were social animals that traveled in herds and cared for their young. They lived in complex ecosystems where predators and prey evolved in a constant arms race. They developed weapons and armor, speed and stealth, intelligence and endurance. The story of dinosaurs is the story of life itself, playing out on a grand scale. It is a story of success and survival, of resilience and transformation. And it is a story that continues today in every bird that sings outside your window. Some dinosaurs were smaller than chickens. When we imagine dinosaurs, we often picture towering giants, colossal predators, and long-necked sauropods that could blot out the sky. But not all dinosaurs were massive. In fact, some species were smaller than chickens. Fossils of little theropods, such as Microraptor, reveal creatures scarcely 2 feet long, light enough to scamper up trees or glide between branches. Some had feathers that shimmered like iridescent beetle wings, turning them into dazzling bird-like jewels of the forest. These tiny dinosaurs were agile, quick, and probably curious little hunters of insects and small prey. They show us that dinosaurs weren't just about size. They filled every niche from towering plant eaters to delicate feathered miniatures. When you hear the word dinosaur, it may be worth remembering not only the giants, but also these small, fragile forms that once shared the earth. Proof of the incredible variety that evolution can produce. The discovery of Microraptor in the early 21st century revolutionized our understanding of dinosaur diversity. Here was a creature no bigger than a pigeon with long feathers on both its arms and its legs, giving it 4 wings instead of 2. It was not a bird in the modern sense, but it was something equally remarkable. It was a dinosaur experimenting with flight, or at least with gliding, in a way that had never been seen before. Microraptor likely lived in the forests of early Cretaceous China, darting between trees in search of insects and small vertebrates. Its feathers were not just for show. They formed a perfect aerodynamic surface, allowing it to glide from branch to branch with precision and grace. The existence of such small dinosaurs forces us to rethink our assumptions about the Mesozoic world. We often picture a landscape dominated by giants, but that was only part of the story. The forests and shorelines of the age of dinosaurs were teeming with life of all sizes. There were tiny reptiles no bigger than mice, small mammals scurrying in the undergrowth, and insects of every description. The dinosaurs themselves filled a remarkable range of ecological roles. Some were small, agile predators. Others were tiny, feathered omnivores. Some lived in burrows, others in trees. The diversity of small dinosaurs was as rich and varied as the diversity of their larger cousins. They were not just miniature versions of giants. They were unique creatures in their own right, with their own adaptations, behaviors, and evolutionary histories. The feathers of these small dinosaurs deserve special attention. For decades, paleontologists assumed that feathers evolved for flight, but the discovery of feathered dinosaurs that could not fly suggested a different story. Feathers likely first evolved for insulation, helping small dinosaurs regulate their body temperature in a world of fluctuating climates. Later, they evolved for display, with bright colors and elaborate patterns used to attract mates or intimidate rivals. Only much later did feathers become aerodynamic structures capable of supporting flight. This sequence of evolution, from insulation to display to flight, mirrors the story of modern birds but extends it back into the deep past. The feathers of Microraptor and its relatives were not just beautiful, they were functional, adaptable, and deeply meaningful. The largest dinosaurs weighed more than a Boeing 747. Imagine standing beneath a creature so massive that its sheer bulk rivals the weight of an airplane. The largest known dinosaurs, the colossal sauropods like Argentinosaurus and Patagodeton, reached weights that scientists estimate at over 70 tons. That is more than a fully loaded Boeing 747. And yet these animals were living, breathing, moving beings, not machines of metal, but creatures of bone, muscle, and sinew. Their hearts had to pump blood up necks as long as a bus. Their skeletons had to bear unimaginable weight. Their lungs used air sacs, much like birds, to efficiently fuel their massive bodies. And still, they managed to move across floodplains and forests, shaking the ground as they walked. These dinosaurs were the heaviest land animals that ever lived, and their existence shows just how far life can stretch the boundaries of what is possible. To understand the scale of Argentinosaurus is to push the limits of imagination. Its thigh bone alone was taller than a human being. Its vertebrae, the individual bones of its spine, were larger than a fully grown man. A single footprint could measure over a meter across, and the ground beneath its feet would have trembled with each slow, deliberate step. Despite their immense size, sauropods were surprisingly efficient. Their bones were not solid, but filled with air pockets, much like the bones of birds. This honeycomb structure reduced their overall weight while maintaining the strength needed to support their colossal frames. Their necks, though long, were supported by a complex system of tendons and muscles that allowed them to move with surprising grace. The cardiovascular system of a sauropod remains one of the greatest puzzles of paleontology. A heart capable of pumping blood to the brain of a creature with a neck 30 feet long would have had to generate incredible pressure. The heart itself would have been enormous, possibly weighing several hundred pounds. The blood vessels would have been thick-walled and elastic, able to withstand the pressure required to push blood upward against gravity. It is a testament to the ingenuity of evolution that such a system could function at all. And yet it did for millions of years, enabling these titans to wander across ancient landscapes, feeding on the vegetation that sustained them. The metabolism of sauropods is another area of active research. Some paleontologists believe they were warm-blooded, maintaining a high internal temperature to fuel their enormous growth. Others suggest they were more intermediate, with a metabolism that could adjust to changing conditions. The presence of air sacs in their bones and the evidence of rapid growth both point toward a warm-blooded physiology, at least to some degree. They could not have grown to their immense sizes on a cold-blooded metabolism alone. The energy demands were simply too great, so these titans likely generated heat internally, much like mammals and birds, and used that heat to power their incredible bodies. Some dinosaurs could sprint faster than an Olympic runner. Though many dinosaurs were huge and lumbering, some were built for speed. Lightweight theropods like Ornithomimus had long, slender legs and stiff tails that acted like balancing rods. Fossil reconstructions suggest that some of these animals could reach speeds of over 40 miles per hour, faster than a human sprinter at the Olympic Games. Imagine herds of these sleek ostrich-like dinosaurs dashing across ancient plains, their tails streaming behind them, their feet kicking up dust in rhythmic bursts. Speed would have been their best defense against predators, allowing them to outrun even formidable hunters. Their long strides and bird-like builds remind us that agility, not size, was sometimes the best survival tool. Just as modern gazelles or antelopes rely on speed, these nimble dinosaurs may have lived in tense balance with predators, always running just fast enough to survive another day. Ornithomimus and its relatives, the ornithomimosaurs, were among the swiftest dinosaurs of the Cretaceous. They had long, slender legs with a specialized arrangement of joints that made them exceptionally efficient runners. Their feet had 3 toes, each ending in a blunt claw that would not have been useful for combat, but would have given them excellent traction on soft ground. Their arms were long and ended in grasping hands, suggesting they may have used them to catch small prey or gather vegetation. Their teeth were absent in the front of the mouth, replaced by a beak-like structure that could have been used for shearing leaves or nipping at fruits. They were among the most bird-like of all dinosaurs, and their speed would have made them nearly impossible to catch. The ability to run at such high speeds required not just strong muscles, but also an efficient respiratory system. Ornithomimus likely possessed the same air sac system found in other theropods, enabling a continuous flow of oxygen to its muscles. Its heart would have been powerful enough to circulate blood during sustained exertion. Its skeleton was lightweight and reinforced at key stress points, allowing it to withstand the forces of high-speed movement. In the open plains and forests of the Cretaceous, speed was a survival asset that could make the difference between life and death. And Ornithomimus had mastered it to an extraordinary degree. But speed was not the only adaptation of these dinosaurs. They also had large eyes, suggesting good vision, and their brains were relatively large compared to other dinosaurs. This combination of traits suggests they were intelligent, aware, and highly responsive to their environment. They may have hunted in groups or at least moved in herds to protect themselves from predators. Their speed and agility would have made them difficult prey, and their adaptability would have allowed them to thrive in a variety of environments. They were the antelopes of the Mesozoic, quick and graceful, always one step ahead of danger. The tiniest dinosaur egg ever found is smaller than a quail's. Not all dinosaur eggs were massive stone-like boulders. Some were surprisingly delicate. Fossilized eggs attributed to tiny theropods reveal shells no larger than a marble, smaller than the eggs laid by many modern birds. These miniature treasures remind us that dinosaurs, like all animals, began life in fragile beginnings. Imagine a nest tucked in soft earth, lined with vegetation holding a clutch of tiny speckled eggs. From these would hatch feathered young no bigger than your hand, their survival uncertain in a world of predators. These eggs show that dinosaurs, even the mightiest, had vulnerable starts. Fossils sometimes preserve entire nests frozen in stone with embryos curled inside. Each tiny egg is a time capsule carrying a story from millions of years ago. A reminder that even the most powerful creatures on Earth began their journey in something small, delicate, and astonishingly fragile. The discovery of dinosaur eggs has revolutionized our understanding of dinosaur reproduction. For decades, paleontologists had only bones to study, and the question of how dinosaurs laid eggs and cared for their young remained a mystery. But the discovery of fossilized nests in Mongolia, Argentina, and North America changed everything. These nests showed that dinosaurs laid eggs in clutches, often arranging them in careful patterns to ensure even incubation. Some species laid their eggs in circular rings, with the mother or father positioned in the center to protect and warm them. Other species laid their eggs in rows, with each egg carefully spaced to allow for air circulation. The size of the eggs varied dramatically, from the tiny eggs of small theropods to the massive eggs of sauropods that could weigh several pounds. The shells of dinosaur eggs also reveal a great deal about their biology. Some shells are thin and porous, allowing for gas exchange during incubation. Others are thick and robust, protecting the developing embryos from predators or physical damage. The structure of the shell, as seen under a microscope, is similar to the shells of modern birds and crocodiles, confirming the close evolutionary relationship between these groups. In some cases, the shells even preserve traces of the original pigments, giving us hints about the color of dinosaur eggs. Like modern bird eggs, dinosaur eggs may have come in a variety of colors and patterns, serving to camouflage them or help parents recognize their own nests. The embryos preserved inside dinosaur eggs are among the most precious of all fossils. They are tiny, delicate skeletons curled in the position they would have assumed while growing. Their bones are not yet fused, and their proportions are often different from those of adults. In some cases, embryos reveal features that disappear in adulthood, like the small teeth found in some theropod hatchlings. These embryos give us a direct window into the earliest stages of dinosaur life, showing us what these creatures looked like when they were just beginning to grow. They are fragile echoes of a world long vanished, preserved in stone for tens of millions of years. The biggest dinosaur eggs were larger than a basketball. On the opposite end of the scale, some dinosaur eggs reached extraordinary sizes. The eggs of giant sauropods could measure more than a foot in length, easily larger than a basketball. Imagine stumbling across a nest filled with these enormous shells, half buried in ancient sands. Each one contained a creature destined to grow into a titan stretching more than 100 feet long. Yet, even these giant eggs were small compared to the adults they would become. Scientists believe that sauropods laid many eggs at once, spreading their chances of survival because most hatchlings were vulnerable. Fossilized nesting grounds reveal hundreds of eggs clustered together. Entire colonies of sauropods returning year after year to the same safe places to lay their clutches. These vast nurseries tell us that even the largest dinosaurs relied on numbers and strategy to ensure that at least a few of their young survived. The sheer size of sauropod eggs raises fascinating questions about how these creatures gave birth. An egg the size of a basketball would have been an enormous investment for the mother, requiring significant energy to produce and lay. The hatchlings, despite their large egg size, were relatively small compared to their parents, perhaps weighing no more than a few dozen pounds. This meant that sauropod babies were vulnerable to predators from the moment they hatched. They could not rely on their size for protection. They needed safety in numbers. This explains why sauropods often nested in colonies, creating large protected areas where hatchlings could grow with relative security. The nesting behaviors of sauropods have been studied extensively at sites like Auca in Argentina, where hundreds of fossilized eggs have been discovered. These nests show that sauropods return to the same nesting grounds year after year, much like modern sea turtles. They dug shallow pits in the earth, laid their eggs, and then covered them with vegetation or soil to protect them from predators. The heat generated by the decomposing vegetation may have helped incubate the eggs, providing a warm environment for the developing embryos. After hatching, the young would have joined the herds, growing rapidly under the protection of adults. It was a strategy that worked for over 100 million years. Many dinosaurs had feathers, not scales. For generations, dinosaurs were imagined as scaly reptiles, their hides rough and leathery. But fossil discoveries in China and beyond have rewritten this picture. Many species, especially small theropods, had feathers. Sometimes simple downy tufts and sometimes elaborate plumes rivaling modern birds. These feathers may have kept them warm, displayed brilliant colors to attract mates, or even allowed gliding or primitive flight. Imagine a velociraptor not as a green scaly predator, but as a bird-like hunter with sleek plumage darting through the undergrowth. Fossils have preserved such details so clearly that we can even see feather impressions spread like halos around bones. Some species bore crests of quills, giving them dramatic silhouettes. These discoveries remind us that dinosaurs were not simply reptilian. They were closer to birds, vibrant and dynamic, wearing coats of feathers that transformed how we picture the ancient world. The discovery of feathers on non-avian dinosaurs is one of the most important paleontological breakthroughs of the last few decades. It began with the discovery of Archaeopteryx in the 19th century, a creature that clearly had feathers and bird-like features, but also reptilian traits like teeth and a bony tail. For a long time, Archaeopteryx was considered the missing link between reptiles and birds. But then came the extraordinary discoveries in Liaoning Province, China, where fine-grained sediments preserved not just bones, but also the delicate impressions of feathers. Here were dinosaurs that were undeniably not birds, yet covered in feathers from head to tail. Some had simple downy feathers, others had complex asymmetrical feathers clearly adapted for flight. The implications were staggering. Feathers are now known from a wide range of dinosaurs, including ornithischians like Tianulong and ceratopsians like Psittacosaurus, which had long, bristle-like feathers on their tails. Even some juvenile specimens of large theropods appear to have been feathered, suggesting that feathers were widespread among dinosaurs. The presence of feathers in such a wide range of species tells us that feathers evolved much earlier than we once thought. They likely originated in the common ancestor of all dinosaurs, or even earlier, in the group that gave rise to dinosaurs. This means that feathers were not a specialized adaptation of birds. They were a fundamental feature of dinosaur biology. The functions of feathers were as varied as the dinosaurs that possessed them. Simple downy feathers provided insulation, allowing small dinosaurs to maintain their body temperature in cool environments. More complex feathers may have provided lift during gliding or improved maneuverability during running. Feathers were also used for display, with bright colors and elaborate patterns serving as sexual signals or territorial warnings. Some dinosaurs had feathers on their arms and legs, creating four-winged profiles that are unlike any animal alive today. These feathers were not just for show. They were integral to the lives of the creatures that bore them, shaping their behavior, their ecology, and their evolution. Some feathered dinosaurs glowed with shimmering colors. Feathers aren't just for warmth or flight, they are also canvases for color. Microscopic structures in fossilized feathers, called melanosomes, reveal hints of what colors ancient dinosaurs might have displayed. Some were matte black, others deep red, and some possessed iridescent qualities, shimmering like modern hummingbirds or starlings. Imagine a small dinosaur perched on a branch, its feathers catching the light in flashes of green, violet, and gold. These dazzling displays may have helped attract mates or establish dominance, much like peacocks do today. They also reveal how vibrant and alive the prehistoric world really was. Not a dull gray land of beasts, but a place filled with flashes of color, shimmer, and spectacle. When we look at birds today, strutting or singing in vivid hues, we are glimpsing echoes of the spectacular feathered dinosaurs that once ruled Earth's skies and forests. The study of melanosomes has opened an entirely new window into dinosaurian appearance. Melanosomes are tiny pigment-bearing organelles found in the cells of feathers and skin. Their shape and arrangement determine the color of feathers, with rod-shaped melanosomes producing black or gray colors and sphere-shaped melanosomes producing red or brown colors. In some modern birds, the arrangement of melanosomes in a specific pattern creates iridescence, the shimmering effect seen in hummingbirds and starlings. When paleontologists examined the melanosomes in fossilized dinosaur feathers, they found the same shapes and arrangements. This meant they could infer the colors of dinosaurs with surprising accuracy. One of the most stunning examples of color reconstruction is the dinosaur Anchiornis, a small feathered theropod from Jurassic China. Anchiornis had a body of gray, a head adorned with reddish-brown feathers, and long feathers on its arms and legs that were white with black tips. Its crest was a striking red, reminiscent of a modern woodpecker. The overall effect was a creature that was not just beautiful, but also highly visible, its colors signaling its health and vigor to potential mates. Other dinosaurs have been found with iridescent feathers, their melanosomes arranged in a way that would have produced a shimmering rainbow-like effect in sunlight. These were creatures that lived in a world of color, their plumage as dazzling as any bird alive today. The colors of dinosaurs also served other purposes beyond display. Camouflage was important for both predators and prey. Some dinosaurs may have had drab, earth-colored feathers that helped them blend into the forest floor or the open plain. Others may have had bright colors only on certain parts of their bodies, revealing them only during courtship displays or threat displays. The pattern of colors was as varied as the species themselves, reflecting the complex social and ecological dynamics of the Mesozoic world. When we look at modern birds with their endless variety of colors and patterns, we are looking at a tiny fraction of what dinosaurs once displayed. The ancient world was not gray. It was a kaleidoscope. The Tyrannosaurus rex could bite harder than any land animal ever. Few creatures inspire awe quite like the Tyrannosaurus rex. Its jaws were designed for one thing: power. Studies show that its bite force could reach an unimaginable 12,000 pounds, stronger than any other land animal in history. That is enough to crush bone clean through, turning prey into splintered fragments in seconds. Its teeth were not delicate knives, but thick, serrated tools shaped like bananas, perfect for gripping and tearing. When a T-Rex bit down, there was no escape. Bone, muscle, and armor all shattered beneath its power. And yet, T-Rex was not simply a brute. Fossil evidence shows it may have hunted with strategy, ambushing prey with bursts of speed. It may even have scavenged when opportunities arose. Whatever the case, its jaw remains the ultimate symbol of predatory dominance, a force unmatched on land, past or present. The mechanics of a T-Rex bite are extraordinary. Its skull was built like a fortress, with fused bones that could withstand the immense forces generated during a bite. The jaw muscles were massive, attaching to a large ridge on the back of the skull that provided leverage for powerful closing. The teeth themselves were not just sharp, but also reinforced with denticles, tiny serrations along the edges that would have gripped flesh and bone, making it difficult for prey to escape. When T-Rex bit down, its teeth would have sunk deep into its target, creating wounds that would have been fatal within hours or even minutes. The bite force was so great that it could have shattered the skull of a Triceratops or the armor of an Ankylosaurus. But T-Rex was not just a biting machine. Its sense of smell was remarkably acute, with large olfactory bulbs that allowed it to detect prey from miles away. Its eyes faced forward, giving it binocular vision and depth perception, essential for a predator that needed to track moving targets. Its legs were powerful enough to propel it in short bursts of speed, though it was not built for long-distance running. Its tail served as a counterbalance, allowing it to turn and maneuver during a chase. T-Rex was the ultimate killing machine, a creature perfectly adapted to its role as the apex predator of late Cretaceous North America. The debate over whether T-Rex was a hunter or a scavenger has raged for decades. The evidence strongly suggests it was both. Like most large predators, T-Rex would have taken advantage of any opportunity to feed. It could hunt, and it did with success, but it would also have scavenged when the chance arose, using its powerful sense of smell to locate carcasses from a great distance. Its massive teeth and jaws would have been able to crush bones to access the marrow inside, a resource that many predators cannot exploit. In this sense, T-Rex was not just a predator, but also a recycler, playing a crucial role in the ecosystem by cleaning up carcasses and returning nutrients to the soil. The Stegosaurus had a brain the size of a walnut. Few dinosaurs capture the imagination quite like the Stegosaurus, with its tall, bony plates rising like sails and its fearsome tail tipped with spikes. Yet for all its impressive armor, the Stegosaurus had one of the smallest brains relative to body size of any known dinosaur. An adult weighing several tons carried a brain scarcely bigger than a walnut. For years, paleontologists puzzled over this. Some even speculated that Stegosaurus might have had a second brain near its hips to help control its massive body. But modern research suggests that wasn't the case. Instead, the tiny brain likely just meant a slow, plant-focused lifestyle with little need for complex planning. Still, despite its limited brain power, Stegosaurus thrived in its ecosystems, showing that intelligence is only one of many ways to succeed. It reminds us that survival sometimes depends more on armor and adaptation than cleverness. The skull of Stegosaurus was one of the smallest of any dinosaur relative to its body size. Its brain was no bigger than a dog's, though its body could weigh over 5 tons. This apparent mismatch has fascinated paleontologists for over a century. The brain itself was shaped like a long, narrow tube, typical of early dinosaurs, with relatively small olfactory lobes and cerebral hemispheres. The spinal cord expanded near the hips, leading to the so-called second brain theory. But this expansion was actually just a cluster of nervous tissue that controlled the hind legs and tail, not a thinking organ. Stegosaurus was not a stupid dinosaur, it just didn't need a large brain to survive. What Stegosaurus lacked in brain power, it made up for in other ways. Its armor was among the most elaborate of any dinosaur. The rows of bony plates along its back were not just for show. They were thick and covered with a network of blood vessels, suggesting they may have been used for temperature regulation or display. When the dinosaur wanted to warm itself, it could turn its plates toward the sun, allowing blood to circulate and absorb heat. When it needed to cool down, it could turn them away, releasing excess warmth into the air. The plates also made the dinosaur appear larger to predators, a visual deterrent that could save it from attack. And of course, there was the tail, with its lethal spikes, able to deliver a devastating blow to any predator foolish enough to come close. Stegosaurus lived in the late Jurassic, alongside giants like Apatosaurus and Diplodocus, and predators like Allosaurus. In such a world, it needed every advantage it could get. Its teeth were small and leaf-shaped, perfect for stripping ferns and low-growing vegetation. Its 4 sturdy legs supported its massive body as it moved through ancient forests. Its tail, with its 4 to 8 spikes, could swing in a wide arc, delivering a powerful strike that could cripple or even kill a predator. Stegosaurus was not fast and it was not smart, but it was resilient. And in the end, that was enough. Sauropods grew to be longer than 3 school buses. The sheer size of sauropods defies comprehension. Creatures such as Diplodocus and Patagodoton grew so vast that their bodies stretched over 100 feet from nose to tail, longer than 3 full-sized school buses parked end to end. Standing beside one would have been like gazing up at a moving wall of muscle and bone. Their necks alone could extend more than 30 feet, allowing them to reach treetops or sweep across broad feeding areas without moving their enormous bodies. Their tails stretched behind them like living whips, balancing their colossal frames. How they supported such size is a question scientists still explore. Their bones were surprisingly lightweight, filled with air sacs much like those in modern birds, reducing weight without sacrificing strength. These giants reigned for millions of years, leaving behind fossils so immense that seeing them in person feels like stepping into another world. The length of a sauropod is only part of its story. These animals were not just long, they were also tall, with some species reaching heights of over 50 feet at the top of their heads. A Brachiosaurus, for example, could have looked down on a 5-story building. Its head would have been lost in the canopy of trees, its eyes scanning the landscape from a vantage point that no other land animal has ever matched. Its heart, weighing hundreds of pounds, would have pumped blood with incredible force, pushing oxygenated blood up a neck that could stretch the length of a tennis court. This cardiovascular system is one of the great wonders of biology, a testament to the power of evolution to solve seemingly impossible problems. The feeding habits of sauropods were as varied as their sizes. Some, like Brachiosaurus, held their necks high, browsing on leaves at the tops of trees. Others, like Diplodocus, held their necks low, sweeping across wide areas of vegetation, stripping ferns and cycads from the forest floor. This division of resources allowed multiple species of sauropods to coexist without competing for the same food. They were living skyscrapers and mobile harvesters, reshaping their environments with every bite. Their dung fertilized the soil, and their movement created pathways through forests, shaping the ecosystems around them. Sauropods were not just giants, they were ecosystem engineers, shaping the world they lived in. How sauropods supported their immense weight is a question that has inspired decades of research. The answer lies in the structure of their bones. Unlike mammals, whose bones are solid and dense, sauropods had bones filled with air sacs. These pneumatic bones, as they are called, are light yet strong, combining the benefits of a bird's lightweight skeleton with the robust structure needed to support enormous mass. The vertebrae, the bones of the spine, were particularly striking. They had complex internal structures with ridges and struts reinforcing the bone while leaving open spaces for air. This honeycomb architecture allowed sauropods to grow to sizes that would have been impossible with solid bones. They were evolutionary wonders, balancing size, weight, and structural integrity in ways that still amaze scientists today. Some dinosaurs had up to 1,000 teeth. When you picture a dinosaur's mouth, you might imagine a row of sharp fangs or heavy grinding plates. But some dinosaurs had truly astonishing dental arrangements. Hadrosaurs, the so-called duck-billed dinosaurs, carried hundreds of teeth arranged in intricate batteries with replacements waiting in line to emerge. In total, some species had over 1,000 teeth packed into their jaws. These were not just for show. They formed one of the most advanced chewing systems ever seen in a reptile, allowing hadrosaurs to grind through tough vegetation with efficiency, rivaling that of modern mammals. Their teeth worked like giant food processors, slicing and shredding fibrous plants that would have been impossible for many other herbivores to digest. Even more remarkable, these teeth were continually replaced, so the dinosaurs never ran out of fresh grinding surfaces. Their dental power helped them flourish across continents, proving that in evolution, teeth can be as mighty as claws. The dental battery of a hadrosaur was a marvel of evolutionary engineering. Each tooth was a complex structure with a central ridge and a network of smaller ridges and grooves. The teeth were packed together in tight rows, creating a continuous grinding surface that could process large quantities of plant material. The jaw muscles were powerful, and the jaw joints were designed to allow a back-and-forth motion, much like the chewing of a cow or a horse. This allowed hadrosaurs to break down tough cellulose fibers, extracting more nutrients from their food than other herbivores. In this sense, hadrosaurs were more advanced than many other dinosaurs, possessing a digestive system that was both efficient and adaptable. The number of teeth in a hadrosaur's mouth was staggering. A single individual could have over 1,000 teeth in various stages of growth, with new teeth forming at the back of the jaw and migrating forward to replace worn ones. This process, called tooth replacement, was continuous throughout the dinosaur's life. A hadrosaur never ran out of teeth. It always had a fresh supply ready to handle the demands of its tough, fibrous diet. This is a testament to the importance of efficient feeding in the Mesozoic world. The ability to process large amounts of plant material quickly and thoroughly gave hadrosaurs a significant advantage over other herbivores, allowing them to thrive in environments where food was abundant but hard to digest. The success of hadrosaurs is one of the great stories of dinosaur evolution. They appeared in the late Cretaceous and quickly became the dominant herbivores in many parts of the world. Their fossils are found in North America, Asia, and Europe, showing that they were widespread and adaptable. Their duck-billed faces were not just for show, they were highly functional tools, allowing these dinosaurs to crop vegetation with precision and efficiency. Their teeth, their jaws, and their digestive systems were all optimized for processing plant material, making them some of the most successful herbivores of the Mesozoic era. Triceratops' horns could be over 3 feet long. The Triceratops is one of the most recognizable dinosaurs, with its massive frill and 3 distinctive horns. Those horns were not just decoration. The two above its eyes could grow over 3 feet long, curving forward like polished spears. Fossil evidence shows signs of wear, scratches, and even healed injuries, suggesting that Triceratops used them actively, whether in battles with predators like Tyrannosaurus rex or in duels with rivals of their own kind. Imagine herds of these great creatures, their horns locking in displays of dominance, or mothers lowering their heads to shield calves from danger. Combined with their wide frills, the horns may also have been used for visual communication, signaling age, health, or readiness to mate. Elegant yet deadly, they turned Triceratops into both an armored guardian and a living display of power. The horns of Triceratops were not just weapons, they were also social signals, indicating dominance and fitness to other members of the same species. The size and shape of the horns varied between individuals, with some having larger, more robust horns than others. This variation is typical of species that use their horns in male-male competition, where size and strength can determine access to mates. The horns were also vascularized, meaning they contained blood vessels and nerves, making them sensitive to touch and potentially useful for communication. A Triceratops could lower its head, presenting its horns to a rival, and use subtle movements to convey its intentions. The frill of Triceratops is equally fascinating. It was made of bone but covered in skin, and it may have been brightly colored. The frill was not just a shield, but also a canvas for display. Its edges could be smooth or scalloped, and its shape varied between species. In some cases, the frill had holes in it, making it lighter and more flexible. This suggests that the frill was not primarily a defensive structure, but rather a display structure, used to signal species identity or individual quality. A Triceratops could flare its frill, making itself appear larger and more intimidating to predators or rivals. It was a living billboard, advertising its health and status to all who could see. The relationship between Triceratops and its horns is one of the most studied aspects of dinosaur biology. Fossil evidence of healed injuries shows that these animals fought each other, likely for dominance or mating rights. The injuries are often found on the frill or the horns themselves, suggesting that battles involved head-to-head contact. The horns would have been used to push or stab, and the frill would have protected the neck from injury. These battles were probably ritualized, with the combatants sizing each other up before engaging. Only when both felt they had a chance of winning would they clash, their horns locking together in a display of strength and endurance. Ankylosaurs carried armor so strong it could resist a T-Rex bite. The ankylosaurs were living tanks. Their bodies were covered in thick bony plates fused into their skin, forming a shield strong enough to withstand ferocious attacks. Some plates even bore ridges and spikes, adding extra deterrence. Their armor was so tough that even the bone-crushing bite of a Tyrannosaurus rex may have struggled to break through. Fossilized ankylosaurs sometimes show healed bite marks, proof that they survived predator encounters that would have killed less protected animals. As if that weren't enough, many species also wielded heavy tail clubs, solid masses of bone that could swing with devastating force. A single blow could shatter bone, even crippling a predator. These features made ankylosaurs nearly impregnable, slow-moving fortresses of the late Cretaceous. In the dangerous arms race of predator and prey, ankylosaurs remind us that defense can be as awe-inspiring as offense. The armor of an ankylosaur was a true marvel of natural engineering. The plates, known as osteoderms, were embedded in the skin and fused to the underlying bone in some species. They formed a continuous shield over the animal's back, shoulders, and hips. The plates were not uniform but varied in size and shape, with larger plates protecting the most vulnerable areas and smaller plates covering the limbs and tail. In some species, the plates were arranged in rows, creating a segmented appearance. In others, they were more irregular, with spikes and ridges adding extra defense. The armor was not just a passive barrier, but an active weapon, making it difficult for predators to find a weak spot to attack. The tail club of an ankylosaur was one of the most formidable weapons in the dinosaur arsenal. It was made of bone and covered in a thick layer of keratin, the same material as a rhino's horn. The club could weigh up to 50 pounds and was swung with incredible force, powered by massive tail muscles. A direct hit could shatter bones, leaving even large predators crippled. The club may have also been used in intraspecific combat, with individuals clubbing each other in displays of dominance or courtship. The evolution of the tail club is a testament to the intensity of the predator-prey arms race in the late Cretaceous, where the stakes were high and the rewards of survival were everything. Fossilized ankylosaurs often show evidence of predation attempts. In some cases, bite marks on the armor suggest that predators like Tyrannosaurus rex tried to bite through the shield but failed. In other cases, healed injuries indicate that the ankylosaur survived an attack, its armor absorbing the force of the bite. These fossils are powerful evidence of the effectiveness of ankylosaur armor. They show that ankylosaurs were not just passive targets, but active defenders, able to withstand and survive attacks that would have killed other herbivores. Ankylosaurs were the fortresses of the Cretaceous, living tanks that commanded respect from even the most fearsome predators. Some dinosaurs had tails tipped with deadly clubs, but the back end of many ankylosaurs swung one of the most extraordinary weapons nature ever devised, the tail club. Built from fused vertebrae and dense bone, these clubs could weigh several dozen pounds and were swung with the power of living wrecking balls. Imagine a predator approaching, jaws open, only to be met with a bone-cracking strike to the leg. A direct hit could break bones, leaving even mighty hunters crippled. Fossil evidence shows that these clubs evolved late in ankylosaur history, suggesting an escalation in the evolutionary battle between predators and prey. They turned slow, armored herbivores into creatures not just protected, but armed, capable of fighting back against even the deadliest attackers. In the world of dinosaurs, the tail club was one of evolution's most dramatic inventions. Part shield, part hammer, part warning to anyone daring enough to come too close. The tail club was not just a blunt weapon, but a sophisticated tool. It was attached to a flexible tail that could swing in any direction, allowing the ankylosaur to strike from almost any angle. The club itself was made of 2 or more large bones fused together, forming a solid mass that could withstand repeated impacts. The muscles of the tail were massive, generating enough force to shatter bone or disable a predator. The ankylosaur could swing its tail with precision, aiming for the legs or the head of an attacker. It was a weapon of both power and accuracy, a combination that made it one of the most effective defensive adaptations in the animal kingdom. The evolution of the tail club is a story of escalation. Early ankylosaurs lacked the club, relying instead on armor alone for defense. But as predators grew larger and more powerful, the pressure to evolve new defenses intensified. The tail club was the result, a weapon that allowed ankylosaurs to fight back against their enemies. It was not an invincible weapon, but it was a powerful one, giving ankylosaurs a fighting chance against even the largest predators. The club was a symbol of the arms race that defined the late Cretaceous, a race that pushed both predators and prey to ever greater extremes. Others had tails tipped with whip-like spikes, while ankylosaurs carried heavy clubs. Other dinosaurs wielded very different weapons. The Stegosaurus, with its distinctive row of plates along its back, ended its tail with a set of long, sharp spikes, often 4 in number. Paleontologists called this weapon a thagomizer, a playful name coined in a cartoon but now used in scientific papers. These spikes could reach several feet in length, and fossil evidence shows they were sometimes broken or damaged, proof they were used in combat. Picture a Stegosaurus swinging its muscular tail in wide arcs, the spikes cutting through the air like spears. Predators foolish enough to come close risked impalement. Combined with its size and armor-like plates, The spiked tail made Stegosaurus a formidable opponent despite its small brain. It's a vivid reminder that dinosaurs evolved an astonishing range of defenses, from heavy armor to lightning-fast weapons. The thagomizer of Stegosaurus was a terrifying weapon. Each spike was made of solid bone and covered in a layer of keratin, sharpening the tip to a lethal point. The spikes could be up to 2 feet long and were held at an angle that made them ideal for stabbing and slashing. When a Stegosaurus swung its tail, the spikes would have moved at incredible speed, driven by the powerful muscles of the tail and hips. A predator struck by a thagomizer would have been impaled, its internal organs damaged, its blood vessels ruptured. The wounds would have been fatal, often within hours or even minutes. The name thagomizer comes from a Far Side cartoon by Gary Larson, in which a caveman warns his companions about the lethal spikes on a Stegosaurus tail. The name was adopted by paleontologists and has become a standard term in the scientific literature. It is a rare example of popular culture influencing scientific language, and it reflects the enduring fascination with this iconic dinosaur. The thagomizer is a reminder that Stegosaurus, despite its small brain, was a survivor. It had evolved a weapon that could kill a predator, making it one of the most dangerous herbivores of the Jurassic period. The function of the thagomizer is confirmed by fossil evidence. In some Stegosaurus fossils, the spikes show signs of wear and damage, suggesting they were used repeatedly in combat. In one famous specimen, the spikes have healed fractures, indicating that the dinosaur survived an injury to its tail. This is powerful evidence that the thagomizer was not just a display structure, but a functional weapon used in life and death situations. Stegosaurus may have been slow and not very smart, but it was dangerous. Its tail was a weapon that could turn the tide in a fight, making it a formidable opponent for any predator. Certain species could grow new teeth throughout their lives. Unlike humans who grow only 2 sets of teeth, many dinosaurs replaced theirs constantly, ensuring they never ran out of tools for feeding. Predators like Tyrannosaurus rex would wear down teeth with their bone-crunching diets, but new ones were always forming in the jaw, ready to push forward and replace the old. Some species grew a fresh tooth every few weeks. Herbivores, too, relied on constant renewal since grinding plants wore down teeth quickly. Fossilized jaws sometimes show rows of teeth in various stages of growth, like conveyor belts moving forward. This adaptation meant that no matter how demanding their diet, dinosaurs always had sharp functional teeth. It's a feature still seen in reptiles like crocodiles today, linking them to their distant cousins of the past. For dinosaurs, teeth were renewable tools, as essential to survival as claws or armor. The process of tooth replacement in dinosaurs is remarkably similar to that of modern reptiles. New teeth form at the back of the jaw beneath the gum line and slowly migrate forward, pushing older teeth out as they grow. This process ensures a constant supply of functional teeth, even as older ones wear down or break. The rate of replacement varies between species, with predators often replacing their teeth more quickly than herbivores, reflecting the higher wear and tear associated with a meat-based diet. In some species, the rate of replacement could be as high as 1 new tooth every few weeks, ensuring that the animal always had sharp, functional teeth for hunting or feeding. The structure of dinosaur teeth is also worth exploring. Predator teeth were often serrated, with denticles along the edges that helped grip and tear flesh. Herbivore teeth, by contrast, were often flat or ridged, designed for grinding and crushing plant material. Some species had teeth that were both sharp and flat, adapted to a mixed diet. The shape and arrangement of teeth are among the most important clues to a dinosaur's diet and ecology, allowing paleontologists to reconstruct how these animals lived and what they ate. And with the constant replacement of teeth, dinosaurs could maintain their feeding efficiency throughout their lives, never suffering from the dental problems that plague humans and other mammals. The ability to replace teeth throughout life is a primitive trait that dinosaurs shared with other reptiles. It is a feature that has been lost in mammals, who typically grow only 2 sets of teeth. The reason for this loss is not entirely clear, but it may be related to the complex jaws and chewing motions of mammals, which require precise alignment of teeth. In dinosaurs, the simpler jaw mechanics allowed for continuous replacement, ensuring that the animal never ran out of functional teeth. This adaptation was one of the keys to dinosaur success, allowing them to process food efficiently and survive in a wide range of environments. The velociraptor was only about the size of a turkey. Hollywood gave Velociraptor an image of a large, terrifying pack hunter, but the reality was rather different. True velociraptors were about the size of turkeys, weighing maybe 15 to 20 pounds. They were feathered, bird-like, and far smaller than the movie monsters many imagine. But don't let the size fool you. These were agile, intelligent predators with razor-sharp claws on each foot. Their sickle-shaped talon could slash into prey with deadly precision. Fossil evidence even captures one velociraptor locked in combat with a protoceratops, both creatures frozen mid-battle for eternity. Though small, the velociraptors hunted with cunning and agility, relying on speed and sharpness rather than brute force. In their ecosystems, they were deadly enough, striking at small prey or scavenging when opportunities arose. Their story reminds us that danger isn't always measured in size. Sometimes it's about agility, precision, and perfect adaptation. The famous Velociraptor skull is a study in predatory efficiency. It was long and low, with a mouth full of sharp, serrated teeth that could deliver a lethal bite. The brain case was relatively large, indicating intelligence that would have been useful for hunting and social behavior. The eyes were large and forward-facing, giving the velociraptor binocular vision and depth perception, essential for a predator that needed to track and strike at prey. Its body was sleek and lightweight, built for speed and agility. Its arms were long and ended in grasping hands with 3 curved claws, likely used to grip and hold prey, while the foot claws did the killing. This combination of traits made Velociraptor one of the most effective predators of the late Cretaceous, despite its small size. The famous Velociraptor versus Protoceratops fossil is one of the most dramatic discoveries in paleontology. Unearthed in Mongolia, the fossil shows a velociraptor and a protoceratops locked in combat, their bodies intertwined in a death grip. The velociraptor's foot claw is embedded in the throat of the protoceratops, and the protoceratops is biting down on the velociraptor's arm. Both appear to have died together, perhaps buried alive by a collapsing sand dune or caught in a sudden storm. The fossil is a snapshot of the Mesozoic world, preserved for eternity. It shows us that Velociraptor was a bold predator, willing to take on prey larger than itself. It also shows us that life in the Mesozoic was dangerous and unpredictable, with creatures locked in struggle until the very end. The Fighting Dinosaurs fossil is a testament to the ferocity of Velociraptor. It also reveals the importance of the foot claw in hunting. The claw, which could be up to 3 inches long, was held off the ground to keep it sharp. In combat, the Velociraptor would have used it to slash at its prey, delivering deep wounds that would have been fatal over time. The claw was not a stabbing weapon, but a slashing one, designed to cause maximum damage and bleeding. This combination of speed, intelligence, and weaponry made Velociraptor a formidable predator, even though it was no larger than a turkey. It is a reminder that evolution often produces weapons of surprising sophistication, tailored to the specific needs of the animal. Raptors likely hunted in packs. One of the most chilling ideas about raptors is that they may have worked together, coordinating their efforts like wolves or lions. Fossil sites suggest groups of raptor-like dinosaurs died together, perhaps after hunting as a unit. Their lightweight bodies, keen senses, and sickle claws made them dangerous individually, but as a group, they could have overwhelmed larger prey. Imagine a pack of swift-feathered hunters fanning out across a clearing, some driving prey forward while others dart in from the sides. It is a haunting picture, one that may have played out countless times in the late Cretaceous. Whether velociraptors specifically hunted this way remains debated, but related species like Deinonychus show strong evidence of cooperative behavior. If true, these dinosaurs were not only deadly in form, but sophisticated in strategy, proving that intelligence and teamwork were as important in prehistory as they are today. The evidence for pack hunting in raptors is compelling. Fossilized trackways show groups of Deinonychus moving in the same direction, possibly on a coordinated hunt. The distribution of fossils also suggests that multiple individuals may have been preserved together, indicating social behavior. The brain size of raptors relative to their body size is among the largest of any dinosaurs, suggesting that they had the cognitive ability to coordinate their actions. This combination of traits points toward a predatory lifestyle that was both sophisticated and adaptable, allowing raptors to hunt prey much larger than themselves. It is one of the most fascinating aspects of dinosaur behavior, offering a glimpse into the social lives of creatures that lived millions of years ago. The image of pack-hunting raptors has captured the public imagination, thanks in part to movies like Jurassic Park. But the reality, while different, is equally intriguing. Raptors were not the giant monsters of the films. They were feathered, intelligent predators that likely lived in social groups. They may have used complex communication signals, perhaps vocalizations or visual displays to coordinate their movements. Their hunting strategies may have been as sophisticated as those of modern wolves or lions, with individuals taking on different roles during a hunt. This level of cooperation is rare among reptiles and is a testament to the advanced brainpower of these dinosaurs. The social behavior of raptors also suggests that they cared for their young. Family groups may have remained together for months or even years, with adults teaching the young how to hunt and survive. This parental care is a trait that raptors shared with other theropods and is one of the many links between dinosaurs and modern birds. The story of raptors is not just a story of violence and hunting, it is also a story of family, cooperation, and intelligence. They were not just predators. They were complex social animals, living lives that were as rich and varied as those of any modern creature. Some dinosaurs had hollow bones like modern birds. When paleontologists first uncovered the long neck bones of sauropods and the light frames of theropods, they were struck by their construction. The bones weren't solid like ours, but hollow, reinforced with thin walls and air spaces. This might sound fragile, but it was a brilliant adaptation. Hollow bones were strong enough to bear enormous weight, yet light enough to reduce the strain of carrying huge bodies or running swiftly. They also tied into complex respiratory systems that allowed air to flow efficiently. Today, birds share the same adaptation, their hollow bones helping them stay light for flight. This connection reinforces the deep link between dinosaurs and modern birds, showing that some of the most extraordinary adaptations of prehistory still live on in sparrows, eagles, and pigeons. The bones of dinosaurs were not just bones, they were architectural marvels of strength and efficiency. The hollow bones of dinosaurs, known as pneumatic bones, are among the most striking features of these ancient creatures. The air sacs that filled these bones were connected to the lungs, forming a respiratory system that was both lightweight and efficient. In sauropods, the vertebrae and ribs were filled with air, reducing the overall weight of the animal without compromising its structural integrity. In theropods, the bones were similarly adapted, allowing for faster movement and greater agility. This system also provided a way to cool the body, as air could circulate through the bones and dissipate heat. It was a multifunctional adaptation that allowed dinosaurs to grow to massive sizes and move with surprising speed. The link between dinosaur and bird bones is one of the strongest pieces of evidence for the evolutionary connection between the two groups. Birds, like dinosaurs, have hollow bones and a complex system of air sacs. This shared anatomy suggests a common ancestor, a creature that lived millions of years ago and passed on these traits to both dinosaurs and birds. The study of dinosaur bones has thus become a window into the evolution of birds, revealing how the features we associate with birds today, such as flight and efficient respiration, first evolved in the deep past. The hollow bones of dinosaurs are also a reminder of the elegance of evolution. Nature does not waste resources. It finds solutions that are both efficient and effective. The hollow bones of dinosaurs are a perfect example, combining strength with lightness in a way that allowed these creatures to dominate the Earth for over 160 million years. When we look at the skeleton of a dinosaur, we are not looking at a static structure, but at a living machine, perfectly adapted to its environment. It is a testament to the power of natural selection to shape life into the most beautiful and extraordinary forms. Birds are technically living dinosaurs. Perhaps the most astonishing truth about dinosaurs is that they never really vanished. Every bird alive today, from the tiny hummingbird to the mighty ostrich, is a direct descendant of theropod dinosaurs. That means dinosaurs are still with us, flying in the skies, hopping along sidewalks, or singing outside your window. The link is not metaphorical, but biological. Feathers, hollow bones, brooding behavior, even wishbones all trace back to dinosaur ancestors. When you look at a chicken scratching in the dirt, you are watching a modern dinosaur. This revelation has transformed our understanding of extinction. Dinosaurs didn't completely disappear at the end of the Cretaceous. They simply changed, adapted, and took wing. Knowing this makes the modern world feel richer, alive with echoes of a prehistoric age. The next time you see a bird, you are seeing a living piece of deep time. The evolutionary relationship between birds and dinosaurs is one of the most thoroughly documented in the fossil record. From the early feathers of theropods to the winged flyers of the Cretaceous, the transition from dinosaur to bird is a story of gradual change and adaptation. The discovery of Archaeopteryx in the 19th century was the first clue, showing a creature that had feathers and wings but also teeth and a tail. Since then, numerous fossils have filled in the gaps, showing how feathers evolved from insulation to flight, how arms became wings, and how the skeleton became lighter and more streamlined. The evolutionary tree is now well established, with birds sitting comfortably within the group of theropod dinosaurs. The survival of birds through the asteroid impact is a testament to their adaptability. While most dinosaurs perished, birds managed to survive, probably because they were small and able to find food in the aftermath of the catastrophe. Their ability to fly gave them access to resources that were out of reach for other animals. Their warm-blooded metabolism allowed them to survive in the cooler conditions that followed the impact. Their flexible diets, including seeds and insects, allowed them to find food when larger animals starved. These traits, which had evolved over millions of years, gave birds the edge they needed to survive the mass extinction. Today, there are over 10,000 species of birds, each one a living dinosaur. They come in every shape and size, from the tiny bee hummingbird to the massive ostrich. They live on every continent and in every environment, from the frozen poles to the steamy tropics. They are the most diverse group of land vertebrates, and they owe their success to the adaptations they inherited from their dinosaur ancestors. When we see a bird, we are not just seeing a modern creature. We are seeing a dinosaur, a survivor of the great extinction that ended the age of the giants. It is a humbling thought, one that connects us to the deep past in ways that are both surprising and profound. The Archaeopteryx was the first known bird-like dinosaur. In the 19th century, a fossil was unearthed in Germany that seemed to straddle two worlds. Called Archaeopteryx, it had the teeth, claws, and long tail of a dinosaur, but also feathers and wings like a bird. It was a stunning discovery, a transitional creature that offered a glimpse of how flight may have evolved. Archaeopteryx likely glided among the trees, perhaps flapping in short bursts, but not yet capable of sustained flight. Its feathers show exquisite detail, with patterns that reveal both function and beauty. For decades, it was the symbol of evolution in action, proof that traits could transform over time to produce entirely new ways of living. Today, it remains one of the most famous fossils ever found, a bridge between the age of dinosaurs and the world of birds. Looking at it feels like peering into evolution's workshop. The Archaeopteryx fossil is a masterpiece of preservation. The fine-grained limestone of the Solnhofen Formation in Germany captured every detail of the animal, from the delicate bones to the impressions of feathers. The feathers themselves are remarkable, showing the same structure as modern bird feathers, with a central shaft and branching barbs. This is clear evidence that the Archaeopteryx was a feathered animal, capable of flight or at least gliding. Yet the presence of teeth, claws, and a bony tail also shows its dinosaurian heritage. The Archaeopteryx was truly a creature of two worlds, a living link between reptiles and birds. The discovery of Archaeopteryx had a profound impact on the scientific community. It provided the first direct evidence for the theory of evolution, showing that creatures could gradually change over time and give rise to new forms. The Archaeopteryx was not just a bird or a reptile. It was something in between, a testament to the power of evolution to shape life in unexpected ways. Its discovery sparked debates that continue to this day, as paleontologists argue over the details of how flight evolved. But the core message is clear. Life is not static. It is dynamic, ever-changing, and capable of producing the most extraordinary transformations. The story of Archaeopteryx is also a story of scientific discovery. The first specimen was found in 1861, just a few years after Darwin published On the Origin of Species. The timing was perfect, as the fossil seemed to confirm Darwin's ideas about gradual change and common ancestry. Since then, many more specimens of Archaeopteryx have been found, each one adding to our understanding of this remarkable creature. The Archaeopteryx remains one of the most important fossils ever discovered, a window into a world where reptiles were turning into birds, one generation at a time. Dinosaurs were warm-blooded, not cold-blooded. For years, dinosaurs were portrayed as sluggish, cold-blooded reptiles, basking in the sun for warmth like modern lizards. But mounting evidence suggests many were warm-blooded, with metabolisms closer to birds and mammals than reptiles. Growth rings in bones, isotopic analysis, and the presence of feathers all point to creatures capable of maintaining steady internal temperatures. This would have given them the energy to be active hunters, long-distance walkers, and attentive parents. Imagine herds of warm-blooded dinosaurs migrating across vast landscapes, their bodies generating heat to keep them moving through changing climates. This shift in understanding transforms our vision of the prehistoric world, not a land of sluggish beasts, but a dynamic, bustling ecosystem of active, thriving animals. Dinosaurs weren't just enormous, they were energetic, warm, and alive in ways we once never imagined. The evidence for warm-bloodedness in dinosaurs comes from a variety of sources. Growth ring analysis shows that dinosaurs grew rapidly, a trait associated with warm-blooded animals. Isotopic analysis of teeth suggests that some dinosaurs maintained a body temperature that was higher than the surrounding environment. The presence of feathers, which provide insulation, also points to a warm-blooded metabolism, as cold-blooded animals do not need such insulation. The presence of air sacs and bones, which help regulate temperature in birds, further supports the idea that dinosaurs were warm-blooded. When all the evidence is considered together, it paints a clear picture. Dinosaurs were active, warm-blooded animals. The implications of warm-bloodedness for dinosaur behavior are significant. Warm-blooded animals have higher metabolic rates than cold-blooded ones, meaning they need more food and are more active. This would have required dinosaurs to spend a significant portion of their day foraging, hunting, or searching for food. It also means they could have been more active during cooler periods, such as at night or in colder climates. Their warm-blooded metabolism would have given them an edge over cold-blooded competitors, allowing them to dominate the Mesozoic world. It is a testament to the versatility of warm-bloodedness as an adaptation, enabling dinosaurs to survive in a wide range of environments and conditions. The warm-blooded nature of dinosaurs also changes our perception of their social behavior. Warm-blooded animals often have complex social structures with parental care and group living. This is consistent with the evidence we have of dinosaur behavior, including nesting sites, trackways showing herds, and fossil evidence of parental care. Dinosaurs were not just solitary hunters or grazers. They were social animals, living in groups, caring for their young, and communicating with each other. Their warm-blooded metabolism may have been a key factor in the evolution of these behaviors, allowing them to invest more energy in their offspring and develop more complex social structures. Some dinosaurs had built-in air sacs to breathe more efficiently. Breathing at the scale of a giant sauropod is no simple task. To move enough oxygen through their bodies, many dinosaurs had evolved systems of air sacs connected to their lungs, much like modern birds. These sacs allowed air to flow in one direction, ensuring a constant supply of fresh oxygen rather than the in-and-out system humans rely on. This adaptation gave them incredible efficiency, fueling both colossal size in sauropods and high activity in smaller theropods. Fossilized bones with hollow chambers reveal where these sacs once rested. Picture a sauropod inhaling, its enormous lungs supported by vast airways, allowing it to process the air of its world with remarkable precision. This system helped them thrive in climates with different oxygen levels than today, a secret respiratory advantage written in their very bones. The air sac system of dinosaurs is one of the most elegant adaptations in the animal kingdom. It allowed for a unidirectional flow of air where fresh oxygen-rich air passed continuously through the lungs. This system is more efficient than the mammalian system, which requires exhalation to remove stale air before inhalation can bring in fresh oxygen. In a dinosaur, the air sacs also helped cool the body, as they were distributed throughout the skeleton, allowing heat to be dissipated. This was especially important for large dinosaurs, which would have generated enormous amounts of heat simply from their body mass. The air sacs were a multifunctional adaptation, enabling both efficient breathing and effective temperature regulation. The presence of air sacs in dinosaur bones is confirmed by the structure of the bones themselves. Many dinosaur bones have cavities and hollow spaces, indicating where the air sacs once were. The bones of the spine, the ribs, and even the skull show these features, suggesting that the air sac system was a fundamental part of dinosaur anatomy. In some species, the air sacs penetrated the most delicate parts of the skeleton, showing how integral they were to the animal's physiology. It is a reminder that dinosaurs were not just passive animals. They were active, dynamic creatures with adaptations that allowed them to thrive in environments that would have been challenging for other animals. The air sac system of dinosaurs also provides clues about their behavior. The efficiency of the system allowed dinosaurs to sustain high levels of activity without becoming exhausted. This would have been important for predators hunting prey, for herbivores migrating over long distances, and for social animals communicating with each other over vast areas. The air sac system was a key factor in dinosaur success, enabling them to dominate the Earth for over 160 million years. It was an adaptation so successful that it was passed on to birds, who use it to power flight and sustain long migrations. Diplodocus could whip its tail at the speed of sound. The tail of a diplodocus wasn't just long. It was a flexible, whip-like structure that may have reached incredible speeds. Some scientists believe it could be snapped with enough force to break the sound barrier, producing a small sonic boom. If true, it would have been one of the loudest sounds generated by any land animal in history. Whether this ability was used for defense, communication, or courtship is still debated, but the idea of herds of diplodocus cracking their tails across prehistoric plains is breathtaking. The whiplash tail could also have served as a deterrent, startling predators or signaling dominance within the herd. Even if not every theory proves correct, the sheer potential written into the anatomy of diplodocus shows how nature experimented with extraordinary adaptations. A single tail could be both a balance, a weapon, and perhaps even a thunderous voice. The tail of diplodocus was a masterpiece of engineering. It was composed of dozens of vertebrae, each one becoming thinner and lighter toward the end of the tail. This allowed the tail to be flexible and capable of rapid acceleration. The muscles at the base of the tail were massive, providing the power needed to swing it. The tip of the tail was reinforced with a structure called a whip, a bunch of fused vertebrae that could survive the tremendous forces generated during a strike. When the diplodocus swung its tail, the tip would have moved at incredible speed, producing a crack that could be heard for miles. It was a weapon that would have terrified any predator that came too close. The sonic boom hypothesis is controversial, but compelling. If the diplodocus tail could indeed break the sound barrier, it would have been one of the most dramatic displays in the animal kingdom. The crack would have served as a warning to predators, a territorial signal to rivals, or perhaps even a way of communicating with members of its own species. The sound would have been deafening, echoing across the ancient plains and startling any creature within earshot. The idea that a dinosaur could generate such a sound is a testament to the extraordinary adaptations that evolution can produce. The tail of diplodocus was also a balancing tool. The enormous weight of the neck and head required a counterbalance at the back of the animal, and the tail provided it. The tail was long and muscular, extending far behind the hips and acting as a lever that helped the dinosaur maintain its balance. This allowed diplodocus to use its long neck to reach high branches without toppling over. The tail was not just a weapon, it was a crucial part of the dinosaur's anatomy, essential for its movement and survival. Spinosaurus may have hunted both on land and in water. The Spinosaurus was unlike any other large carnivorous dinosaur. With its crocodile-like snout, conical teeth, and sail-like back, it was already unusual. But fossil evidence suggests something more. Spinosaurus may have been semi-aquatic, hunting in rivers and lakes as well as on land. Its bones were dense, helping it sink and move through water, and its powerful tail may have worked like a paddle. Imagine a predator longer than Tyrannosaurus gliding beneath the surface, like a reptilian crocodile waiting to ambush fish or smaller creatures that came too close. It represents a remarkable departure from the stereotype of land-stalking predators. Spinosaurus reminds us that dinosaurs were endlessly inventive, filling niches we once thought impossible. It may have been the first truly aquatic dinosaur, a lord of both riverbanks and watery depths. The discovery of Spinosaurus in the early 20th century was already remarkable, but recent fossil finds have transformed our understanding of this creature. The bones of Spinosaurus show adaptations for aquatic life that are unlike any other dinosaur. The skull is long and narrow, with a crocodile-like snout and teeth that interlock to catch fish. The limbs are short and powerful, with large claws that may have been used to grip slippery prey. The tail is tall and paddle-like, suggesting it was used for propulsion in water. The bones are dense, a feature common in animals that spend a lot of time in water, as it helps them stay submerged. It is a creature that seems to have been perfectly adapted to a life in the water. The semi-aquatic lifestyle of Spinosaurus raises fascinating questions about dinosaur behavior. It suggests that some dinosaurs were capable of exploiting aquatic environments, something that was previously thought to be impossible. The presence of fish remains in the stomach of a Spinosaurus fossil provides direct evidence of its diet. It also suggests that these dinosaurs were not just occasional swimmers, but regular hunters in the water. This is a striking departure from the image of dinosaurs as purely terrestrial animals, showing that they were more adaptable and versatile than we once thought. The discovery of Spinosaurus has also shed light on the ecosystems of the Cretaceous. The rivers and lakes of North Africa were teeming with fish, and Spinosaurus was the apex predator of this watery world. It shared its environment with other dinosaurs, such as the massive Argentinosaurus, and with giant fish and crocodiles. The competition for food must have been intense, and Spinosaurus found a niche that was uniquely its own. It is a testament to the diversity of dinosaurs and their ability to adapt to any environment. Some dinosaurs could swim. For a long time, dinosaurs were imagined as strictly land-based creatures, but fossils and trackways reveal that many species were capable swimmers. Footprints preserved in ancient riverbeds show dinosaurs paddling with steady strokes, their claws scratching the bottom before pushing off into deeper waters. Even large theropods like T-Rex may have been able to cross rivers, their buoyant bodies keeping them afloat while their strong legs propelled them forward. Smaller species likely darted through lakes or ponds, chasing fish or escaping predators. Being able to swim would have been an essential survival skill in a world where rivers crisscrossed continents and floodplains often changed with the seasons. Far from being awkward land giants, dinosaurs were versatile, capable of navigating not just land, but water, broadening their reach into nearly every environment Earth had to offer. The evidence for swimming in dinosaurs comes from a variety of sources. Fossilized trackways show the marks of swimming dinosaurs, with claws scratching the bottom as they pushed off. These tracks are known from several locations around the world, suggesting that swimming was a common behavior among dinosaurs. The anatomy of some dinosaurs also suggests they were well adapted for swimming. The arms of some theropods were long and strong, suitable for paddling. The tails of many dinosaurs were powerful and flexible, providing propulsion in the water. The bones of some species show adaptations for swimming, such as dense bones that would have helped them stay submerged. The ability to swim would have been a significant advantage for dinosaurs. It would have allowed them to cross rivers and lakes, expanding their range and accessing new areas for feeding and nesting. It would have also helped them escape predators, as many predators would have been reluctant to enter the water. The ability to swim is a trait that has been lost in some modern reptiles, but in dinosaurs it was common. It is a reminder that dinosaurs were not just land-bound giants, but versatile animals capable of navigating a wide range of environments. The swimming behavior of dinosaurs also has implications for our understanding of their physiology. Swimming is an energy-intensive activity, requiring a high level of cardiovascular fitness and efficient breathing. The fact that dinosaurs could swim suggests they had good lung capacity and strong hearts. It also suggests that they were warm-blooded, as swimming requires a high metabolic rate to maintain body temperature and sustain activity. The ability to swim is one more piece of evidence in the complex puzzle of dinosaur biology. Others may have glided between trees like flying squirrels. Some small feathered dinosaurs may have taken to the skies in a way that wasn't quite flying, but more than simply leaping. Fossils of creatures such as Yi-Chi reveal elongated fingers supporting membranous wings, suggesting that these animals could glide between trees, much like flying squirrels today. Others with feathered limbs may have spread their arms and legs wide to catch air currents, drifting gracefully from branch to branch. These experiments in flight show the incredible variety of evolutionary paths dinosaurs explored before true powered flight emerged in birds. Imagine a forest canopy alive with tiny gliders, their feathers shimmering as they coasted silently between trees. It paints a picture of prehistoric skies, not as empty spaces, but as buzzing, dynamic worlds where dinosaurs tested the very first blueprints of flight. The discovery of gliding dinosaurs has revolutionized our understanding of the evolution of flight. It shows that the ancestors of birds experimented with different ways of getting airborne, from gliding between trees to flapping their feathered limbs. The fossil of Yi Qi, discovered in China, has wings made of skin and bone, not feathers, showing that dinosaurs explored multiple evolutionary paths to flight. Other gliders, like Microraptor, had 4 wings, with feathers on both the arms and legs, allowing them to glide with precision and control. These were not just clumsy lepers, but skilled gliders, capable of navigating the forest canopy with grace. The gliding behavior of these dinosaurs would have been an adaptation for life in the trees. The forests of the Mesozoic were filled with tall trees, and the ability to move between them would have been a significant advantage. Gliding would have allowed these small dinosaurs to avoid predators on the ground, find food in the canopy, and escape from competitors. The feathers and wing-like structures were not just for show, they were functional tools that allowed these dinosaurs to thrive in a challenging environment. The evolution of gliding in dinosaurs is also a story of convergence. The ability to glide has evolved independently in several groups of animals, including mammals, reptiles, and even insects. In dinosaurs, it evolved in multiple lineages, showing that the selective pressures of the Mesozoic world favored the development of airborne capability. The gliders of the dinosaur age were not just precursors to birds. They were successful animals in their own right, filling niches that no other creatures could. They are a testament to the creativity of evolution, which can produce the same adaptation in different ways across different lineages. Pterosaurs weren't dinosaurs, but they lived alongside them. Though often lumped together with dinosaurs, pterosaurs belonged to a different branch of reptiles. They were the first vertebrates to achieve true powered flight, long before birds or bats. With wingspans ranging from the size of a sparrow to over 30 feet across, they dominated the skies above dinosaur worlds. Some skimmed fish from oceans, others soared like albatrosses over open seas, and some stalked prey on the ground with long-beaked jaws. Pterosaurs evolved alongside dinosaurs, sharing their ecosystems for over 150 million years. They were not dinosaurs, but they were part of the same grand stage, filling the skies while dinosaurs ruled the land. Together, they created a world alive with motion, power, and diversity. The skies of the Mesozoic were not empty. They were filled with the wing beats of extraordinary creatures. The pterosaurs were marvels of evolution. Their wings were made of a membrane of skin, muscle, and blood vessels, stretched between a massively elongated fourth finger and their bodies. The wings were strong and flexible, allowing for a range of flight styles, from rapid flapping to long-distance soaring. The bones of pterosaurs were hollow and lightweight, much like birds, reducing weight without compromising strength. Their large brains and complex sensory organs suggest they were intelligent, agile flyers capable of navigating challenging environments. The diversity of pterosaurs is staggering. Some were small, with wingspans of less than a foot, and likely fed on insects. Others were enormous, with wingspans of 30 feet or more, and may have fed on fish or even small dinosaurs. The largest pterosaur, Quetzalcoatlus, had a wingspan of over 30 feet, making it one of the largest flying creatures ever to exist. Its body was the size of a giraffe, and it may have stalked prey on the ground like a stork. This diversity shows that the skies of the Mesozoic were a dynamic and competitive environment, with pterosaurs occupying every available niche. Despite their success, pterosaurs were not dinosaurs. They belonged to a separate group of reptiles that evolved from a common ancestor in the Triassic period. Their wings were different from those of birds, with a different structure and different origins. Yet they coexisted with dinosaurs for over 150 million years, sharing the same ecosystems and often competing for the same resources. Their extinction at the end of the Cretaceous, along with the non-avian dinosaurs, marked the end of an era. But their legacy lives on in the birds that now fill the skies, the descendants of the dinosaurs that once shared the world with these remarkable flyers. Some dinosaurs could lay clutches of dozens of eggs at once. When we imagine a dinosaur nest, it's easy to picture a few giant eggs nestled in the sand. But some dinosaurs laid clutches of dozens of eggs at a time, turning their nesting sites into true hatchling factories. Sauropods, for example, are believed to have laid vast numbers of eggs to increase the odds that at least a few young would survive the dangers of their world. Fossilized nesting grounds reveal clusters of eggs spread across wide areas, suggesting that herds returned year after year to the same spots, much like sea turtles today. These communal nesting sites must have been alive with activity. Females carefully laying eggs, hatchlings breaking free of shells, and predators waiting nearby for an easy meal. The strategy of laying many eggs at once reveals the precarious balance of survival. For dinosaurs, ensuring the future often meant producing life on a massive scale. The nesting grounds of dinosaurs are among the most spectacular fossil sites in the world. At Mahuevo in Argentina, hundreds of sauropod nests have been found, each containing dozens of eggs. The nests are arranged in a regular pattern, suggesting that the dinosaurs returned to the same site year after year to lay their eggs. The eggs themselves are well preserved, with some even containing embryos. This site is a window into the reproductive behavior of sauropods, showing that these giants laid many eggs and cared for them communally. The strategy of laying many eggs was a response to the high mortality rate of hatchlings. In the Mesozoic world, predators were everywhere and young dinosaurs were vulnerable. By laying many eggs, sauropods increased the chances that at least some of their offspring would survive to adulthood. This is similar to the strategy used by modern sea turtles, which laid dozens of eggs at a time. The mortality rate for young dinosaurs was likely very high, and only a fraction of hatchlings would have reached adulthood. But the sheer number of eggs ensured that the species would continue. The size of the nests also reveals the care that went into their construction. Sauropods did not just scatter their eggs randomly. They arranged them in careful patterns, with each egg supported by soil or vegetation. The nests were often built in protected locations, away from predators and out of the direct heat of the sun. The adults may have guarded the nests, protecting them from predators and ensuring the success of the hatchlings. This level of care is a testament to the importance of reproduction in dinosaur life and the effort that went into ensuring the survival of the next generation. Baby dinosaurs sometimes stayed in nests for months. Some dinosaurs weren't ready to wander the world right after hatching. Fossil evidence suggests that certain species, like hadrosaurs, kept their young in nests for weeks or even months. These fragile babies relied on protection and care, perhaps from one or both parents. Impressions of tiny bones show growth stages that couldn't have supported independent life, hinting that they stayed close to the safety of home. Imagine a nest filled with downy hatchlings, chirping softly while a mother or father guarded nearby. Parents may have brought food, shaded the nest from heat, or defended against predators. This behavior, so bird-like, underscores the evolutionary link between dinosaurs and modern birds. It also paints a tender picture of prehistory, where even colossal creatures invested time and energy into nurturing their young. Far from being cold, unfeeling reptiles, dinosaurs may have lived in family groups filled with care and cooperation. The evidence for parental care in dinosaurs is compelling. Fossilized nests with adults preserved in brooding postures are among the most touching discoveries in paleontology. In China, an oviraptor was found frozen over a nest, its arms spread as if protecting eggs. The name oviraptor, which means egg thief, was given before this discovery. The fossil shows that oviraptor was not a thief but a devoted parent, brooding its eggs like a modern bird. This discovery has transformed our understanding of dinosaur parental care, showing that it was widespread and deeply ingrained. The presence of multiple growth stages in nests also suggests that hatchlings stayed in the nest for some time. In some nests, teeth of hatchlings are worn, indicating they were eating the same food as adults. This suggests that parents brought food to the nest, feeding their young until they were ready to leave. The bones of hatchlings often show signs of growth that could only occur with protection and care, further evidence that they were not left to fend for themselves. The family life of dinosaurs was more complex than we once imagined, with parents investing time and energy in the survival of their offspring. The behavior of caring for young is one of the many links between dinosaurs and birds. Modern birds are famous for their parenting, with many species spending months caring for their chicks. The brooding behavior of Oviraptor is remarkably similar to the brooding behavior of modern birds, showing that this behavior is deeply rooted in evolutionary history. It is a reminder that the bonds between parent and child are not unique to humans or mammals, but are a fundamental part of life on Earth, stretching back to the age of dinosaurs. Fossilized dinosaur tracks show herds moving together. Sometimes the most revealing fossils aren't bones at all, but footprints. Vast fossilized trackways show dozens, even hundreds of dinosaurs walking together in the same direction. These traces suggest that many species, including sauropods and hadrosaurs, traveled in herds much like modern elephants or wildebeest. Walking in groups would have provided protection, with the strongest adults on the outside and young sheltered in the center. The tracks also show pace and rhythm, some animals strolling side by side, others speeding up or slowing down. In some cases, tracks of predators appear alongside those of herbivores, a snapshot of ancient life and death unfolding in stone. These pathways tell us about social behavior in ways bones cannot. They reveal that dinosaurs weren't solitary wanderers, but often lived as part of complex communities, moving across landscapes together in dynamic, ever-shifting herds. The study of dinosaur tracks is a field in itself, known as ichnology. Tracks are preserved when dinosaurs walked across soft sediment that later hardened into rock. They are not as spectacular as bones, but they provide a wealth of information about dinosaur behavior. Trackways reveal the speed at which dinosaurs moved, the number of individuals in a herd, and even the social structure of the group. They show how dinosaurs interacted with their environment, including where they nested, where they foraged, and where they rested. The presence of herds in the fossil record is one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for dinosaur social behavior. Trackways of sauropods often show large numbers of individuals moving in the same direction, suggesting they traveled in herds. The tracks of hadrosaurs show similar patterns, with many individuals of different sizes moving together. This suggests that these dinosaurs were social animals, living in groups for protection and cooperation. The herds may have been composed of family groups, with adults, juveniles, and hatchlings all moving together. The behavior of herding would have provided significant advantages. Herds would have been more difficult for predators to attack, as the group could detect threats more easily and coordinate their responses. Herds would have also allowed for more efficient foraging, with individuals sharing information about food sources and water. Herding behavior is seen in many modern animals, and it is a testament to the social complexity of dinosaurs that it was also present in the Mesozoic world. The tracks of dinosaurs show that they were not just random wanderers, but organized social creatures with a sophisticated understanding of group dynamics. Some dinosaurs may have migrated hundreds of miles seasonally. Migration is one of nature's most astonishing behaviors, and dinosaurs may have been masters of it. Fossil evidence suggests that some species traveled enormous distances to follow food in favorable climates. For instance, trackways in North America hint at herds of hadrosaurs moving seasonally, perhaps hundreds of miles at a time. Isotope studies of fossilized teeth support the idea, showing chemical signatures that match water sources far apart. Imagine vast lines of dinosaurs marching across floodplains, mothers guiding young, predators shadowing the herds, and ancient skies filled with pterosaurs soaring overhead. Seasonal migrations would have carried them through changing environments, from lush forests to open plains, ensuring survival during harsh times. Just as modern caribou and wildebeest still undertake epic migrations today, dinosaurs may have been following similar ancient patterns, driven by instinct to chase abundance across continents. The evidence for dinosaur migration is based on both trackways and geochemical analysis. Trackways show large numbers of dinosaurs moving in the same direction over long distances, suggesting a seasonal pattern. Isotope analysis of teeth, which can reveal the type of water an animal drank, shows that some dinosaurs moved between different water sources over their lifetime. This is consistent with migration, as animals would have moved from one area to another as seasons changed and resources became available. The scale of dinosaur migration would have been staggering. Imagine herds of thousands of dinosaurs moving across the landscape, their progress marked by a constant cloud of dust. The young would have been protected in the center of the herd, while the adults would have taken positions on the edges. The migration would have been a time of danger and opportunity, with predators like T-Rex waiting in ambush and scavengers following the herds to pick off the weak and injured. The migration would have been a defining event in the lives of these dinosaurs, shaping their behavior and ecology. The phenomenon of migration is also a testament to the intelligence of dinosaurs. Migration requires an understanding of the environment and the ability to plan for the future. Dinosaurs would have had to remember the routes, know the timing of the seasons, and coordinate their movements with the rest of the herd. This suggests a level of cognitive ability that we do not often associate with reptiles. But dinosaurs were not reptiles in the modern sense. They were more intelligent and adaptable than we once thought, capable of complex behaviors like migration and herding. Dinosaurs lived on every continent, even Antarctica. Dinosaurs were truly global creatures. Fossils have been found on every continent from North America to Asia, from Africa to Antarctica. During the Mesozoic era, the continents were arranged differently, often joined together in vast landmasses that made migration easier. As Earth's plates drifted apart, dinosaurs adapted to new environments, filling niches from deserts to forests to coastal wetlands. The discovery of fossils in Antarctica is especially striking. Though it's frozen today, Antarctica once supported forests, rivers, and dinosaurs. The presence of these creatures on all 7 continents shows just how adaptable they were. No matter the climate or geography, dinosaurs found ways to thrive. This global spread explains their incredible diversity, with unique species evolving in different regions. From the icy poles to the equator, dinosaurs left their footprints everywhere, a true planetary dynasty that spanned more of Earth than any other group of land animals. The discovery of dinosaur fossils in Antarctica is a testament to the power of paleontology to reveal the past. In the 1980s, scientists first discovered dinosaur bones on the frozen continent, showing that it was once covered in forests and teeming with life. The fossils include hadrosaurs, sauropods, and theropods, suggesting that Antarctica was a diverse environment. The climate of Antarctica during the Mesozoic was much warmer than it is today, with temperatures that could support forests and rivers. But the winters were long and dark, with months of continuous night. The dinosaurs of Antarctica had to adapt to these conditions, surviving in a world of extremes. The dinosaurs of Antarctica also show the global nature of the Mesozoic world. The continents were connected in the supercontinent of Pangaea, allowing dinosaurs to spread across the globe. As the continents split apart, the dinosaurs on each landmass evolved in isolation, giving rise to the incredible diversity we see in the fossil record. The dinosaurs of South America were different from those of North America, and those of Asia were different again. Yet all were connected by a common ancestry, a web of life that spanned the planet. The adaptability of dinosaurs is also shown by their presence in both polar regions. While many people think of dinosaurs as tropical animals, they were found in every environment from the tropics to the poles. They adapted to extreme conditions, including the cold and darkness of the polar winters. This adaptability is one of the reasons they were so successful. They were not limited to one climate, but could thrive in a wide range of environments. They were a global dynasty, ruling the Earth for over 160 million years. Antarctica once had forests full of dinosaurs. It's hard to imagine Antarctica without its icy deserts and glaciers. Yet during the age of dinosaurs, the southernmost continent was a green and fertile place covered in forests. Fossilized wood, leaves, and dinosaur bones reveal a land that was once warm enough to sustain lush plant life. Sauropods, theropods, and ornithopods all left their mark here. Long summer days bathed the forests in endless light, while winter plunged them into months of darkness. Dinosaurs in Antarctica had to adapt to these extreme cycles, perhaps growing thick coats of feathers or storing energy to survive long winters. These polar dinosaurs remind us how different Earth's climate once was. Imagine towering conifers stretching across the Antarctic landscape, herds of dinosaurs weaving among the trees, and the air rich with the scent of vegetation. It's a vision of Antarctica almost impossible to believe, but written in stone for us to discover. The forests of Antarctica were not the sparse, stunted growth of today. They were dense and diverse, filled with conifers, ferns, and ginkgos. The trees would have been tall, with thick trunks and spreading canopies. The ground would have been covered in mosses and ferns, with rivers and lakes scattered across the landscape. The dinosaurs that lived here would have had a rich and varied diet, feeding on the abundant vegetation. The climate was mild, with temperatures that rarely dropped below freezing, but the long winters must have been a challenge for any creature. The adaptations of polar dinosaurs are a subject of active research. The presence of feathers suggests that some dinosaurs were insulated against the cold. The large size of some polar dinosaurs may have also helped them retain heat, as larger animals have a smaller surface area to volume ratio and lose heat more slowly. The ability to hibernate or go dormant during the winter months is another possibility, though there is no direct evidence for this. The polar dinosaurs were a hardy group, able to survive in conditions that would have been challenging for many other animals. The discovery of dinosaurs in Antarctica is a reminder of how much the Earth has changed over geological time. The climate of the Mesozoic was much warmer than today, with no polar ice caps and lush forests covering the poles. This was a world that was very different from our own, a world where dinosaurs roamed the forests of Antarctica and the deserts of the tropics. It is a vision of the past that is both beautiful and sobering, showing us the dynamism of life on Earth and its ability to adapt to even the most extreme conditions. Some dinosaurs could survive months of darkness during polar winters. In the polar regions of the Mesozoic, winters brought months of darkness, yet dinosaurs found ways to cope. Fossils suggest some had keen night vision, with large eyes adapted for low light. Others may have relied on social behaviors, huddling together for warmth and protection, much like penguins today. Their warm-blooded physiology would have given them an advantage over cold-blooded reptiles, allowing them to stay active even in freezing conditions. Hatchlings may have been born during the endless daylight of summer, giving them time to grow strong before the long night set in. Imagine a herd of feathered herbivores slowly moving through a shadowed forest, glowing starlight above, predators lurking unseen in the gloom. These adaptations reveal a world far more complex than we once imagined, with dinosaurs thriving not just in the bright tropics, but in the long, cold darkness of ancient polar winters. The long polar nights would have been a significant challenge for any animal. Without sunlight, photosynthesis would have stopped, and the plants would have been unable to produce food. The herbivores would have had to rely on stored energy or migrate to regions with more sunlight. The predators would have had to hunt in the dark, using their senses of smell and hearing to track their prey. The environment would have been harsh and unforgiving, yet dinosaurs managed to survive. The adaptations of polar dinosaurs are still being uncovered. Some species may have had large eyes, allowing them to see in low light. Others may have developed a layer of fat or feathers for insulation. The warm-blooded metabolism of dinosaurs would have given them a significant advantage, allowing them to maintain a constant body temperature and stay active even in cold conditions. The ability to hibernate or go dormant is another possibility, though there is no direct evidence for this. The polar dinosaurs were a resilient group, able to survive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. The polar world of the Mesozoic was also a world of beauty. The long summer days would have been filled with light and life, the forests alive with the sounds of dinosaurs. The long winter nights would have been dark and cold, but the stars would have been incredibly bright, visible through the clear, dry air. It is a vision of the past that is both remote and strangely inviting, a world where dinosaurs lived and thrived in the shadows of the polar regions. And so, dear listener, our journey through the world of the dinosaurs comes to a close. From chance discoveries in quiet riverbeds to the fiery end brought by an asteroid, we have wandered across deep time together. We've walked beside giants with necks that stretched like bridges, studied the delicate patterns of feathers caught forever in amber, and watched entire worlds bloom with flowers while colossal herds moved across the land. We've seen how even their footsteps pressed into soft mud could carry whispers across millions of years. Dinosaurs remind us that life is vast, strange, and endlessly surprising. They show us resilience and fragility, beauty and terror, silence and sound. They lived for over 160 million years, far longer than humans have yet existed, and their legacy still beats in the wings of every bird that takes flight today. The sparrows in our gardens, the penguins sliding across Antarctic ice, the eagles gliding over mountain ridges, all are living reminders that the story of dinosaurs is not finished. As you lie here, letting your breathing slow, imagine the world not as it is now, but as it once was. Picture a lush Jurassic forest, humid and green, alive with birds that is at once ancient and familiar. Hear the rumble of footsteps in the distance, steady as the pulse of the earth itself. See the shimmer of color on feathered raptors, the towering silhouettes of sauropods moving like walking mountains, and the sudden glitter of dragonflies skimming through the air. All of it passing into stillness, into memory, into dreams. The dinosaurs lived, thrived, and transformed the planet. And then they were gone, leaving space for something new. In that way, they remind us that endings are not truly endings. They are transformations, the quiet turning of one page so that another may begin. Just as their world gave way to ours, each day gives way to night, and each waking thought drifts into dreams. If you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video when you're ready. But if your eyes are growing heavy, let the stories of dinosaurs carry you gently into rest. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let yourself drift into sleep, into stillness, into the vast and timeless silence where even giants once dreamed. Good night.